Happy Sunday. Ooh. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Did you go to church today? If you didn't go to church, what did you do? Share. What did you do today if you did not go to church? Well, for me, I woke up pretty late, so I couldn't make it to church on time. But hey, how are you? Hi UK. So today I actually want to talk about trauma. Initially this was not the topic I wanted to talk about today. It was something else, but this one actually came, like I was contemplating this topic between yesterday and today. I already had a topic I wanted to talk about, but this particular one just dropped between yesterday and today because of probably incidents I saw online. So thank you, Shine. You're amazing. So I want to talk about trauma today, and I will just touch a few topics. Hi, Toyin. Thank you. I want to touch a few topics on trauma and probably how we can identify it, because most of us are just going about, we're traumatized, but we don't even know that we have trauma issues. You get? So trauma, first and foremost, trauma is disturbing experiences, deep disturbing experiences that we pass through. Yeah, deep disturbing experiences that have occurred, because it's something that will have to have occurred for you to keep having it in your memory, or it disturbing you at some point in your life. So I'll just say trauma is a deeply disturbing experience. Trauma is deeply disturbing experiences that we all pass through at some point. Not everyone anyway. Some people have been privileged not to experience things that will give them trauma. And if you're one of them, you're quite lucky. You should count yourself lucky. So first, how do you even identify that you are undergoing trauma? How do you identify trauma, and what are those experiences that actually cause trauma? Sometimes it could be from the loss of a child. It could be from rape. It could be from kidnap. It could be from physical injuries, from domestic violence. It could also be from abandonment issues. It could also be from relationships, heartbreak. You know, it depends on your scenario. You know better. So those are some of the issues that bring about trauma. In medical terms, trauma comes with its own terminology in medical terms. PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. That's what trauma is referred to in medical terms. And I just mentioned the kind of scenarios that would cause trauma. Now, as individuals, we all know where we are coming from. Yeah, so if you look back, happy Sunday gift. If you look back at your life, what experiences do you think have caused you emotional distress or anxiety, or at some point people have heartbreaks, long time to you too, gifts. So some people have suffered tremendous heartbreaks. Some people have suffered one experience or the other that hit hard, like it hit home. Like you would just sometimes when you even think about it, you're like, how did I get myself into this, or how did I get to this stage? You get? So like I said, how do you really know that you are suffering from trauma? I'll just elaborate a few points. First and foremost, it reflects in your behavior. In your behavior, how? You get irritable, you get agitated, you get anxious over little things, you get irritable over little things. Those are some behavioral symptoms of trauma. Psychologically, it could be in form of flashbacks, fear. When I mean flashbacks, you just have like this thought. It just flashes in your head. Like the pictures just come rushing in and you just can't help it. Thank you so much, Gift. You're amazing too. So you find yourself having hot flashes of that particular experience. And sometimes it's not something you can really control. We're human beings. But at some point, when you see that it's getting out of hand, I think it's important that you seek professional help. So I've touched on behavioral, I've touched on the psychological aspect. In your moods as well, you just tend to lose interest. You feel guilty, and when I mean losing interest, activities, you just lose interest in activities, you lose interest in meeting people, you lose interest in going out, you now tend to feel lonely. These are part of your moods. You become lonely, you become anxious, you tend to have guilt, you tend to suffer from guilt. Now this guilt, it now depends. In cases of rape, you notice that some of the girls tend to now become guilty because society makes them feel they were at fault. Society makes them believe that, okay, they were in the wrong place, or they were wearing something that made them to become raped. And then the victims now tend to fall into a state of being guilty for existence as a whole sometimes. Then when you talk about loneliness as part of your mood, loneliness could creep in so many ways. Yeah, because sometimes our self-destructive nature makes us push people away as a result of what we have been through. Yeah. And trauma, to an extent, could affect your sleep pattern. It could affect your sleep pattern in the sense that you start having nightmares, or you find it difficult to sleep early, you sleep late, or there are many. Like, if I actually wanted to list them, there are actually many. Another way that trauma also affects us is in our emotions. We become detached. Yeah, we become emotionally detached, and we self-sabotage and push people away, especially people that are trying to come close. Your guards become, you just raise your guards up. Your guards in the sense that people who want to even show you love, who want to come close to you, you push them away. Sometimes you don't even know you're pushing them away, but it's because of your response and how you behave. You tend to push people that love you away. Now, I don't want to say trauma and bipolar disorder are the same thing, but they're very similar. Very, very similar. Because bipolar disorder is a form of stress, depression. Sorry, not stress. It's a form of depression. It comes high. It ranges from the high highs to the low lows. Like the lowest form of depression, and then some manic highs. Like you don't understand. Sometimes you don't even understand why you are behaving the way you are behaving. Do you understand? So trauma in essence sometimes need to be addressed professionally. Now, not everybody can actually afford a therapist, but you can help somebody sitting beside you. Like, sometimes people just need somebody to talk to and pour their mind out. Like, most of the things that people pass, most of the depression that people pass through is because so much has piled up in their heads, in their minds. Sometimes they don't even know whom to talk to. Do you understand? They don't really know who to talk to. But if you can be a little bit sensitive, sometimes you even pick up on the people that actually need you. It not necessarily have to be money. It doesn't necessarily have to be your help with money. Sometimes a word of encouragement or a word of reassurance would go a long way to help that person sitting beside you. I was going on the internet. I saw a story of a lady who was like narrating her story about rape and what she had to go through. It's horrible. If you've never been raped, you will never know. It's horrible. And her coming out to say whatever she said, the guy actually came out to confess. The guy came out to confess and was asking for forgiveness. Now, this trauma I'm talking about goes both ways. Both the victim and sometimes the perpetrators also undergo traumatic stress. You know? Because if you are a perpetrator and you actually have a serious conscience that is always gonna be pricking you, oh, this thing you did is not good, or you found yourself in a situation where you were forced into doing something that wasn't really in your intentions, but because you just wanted to be part of the gang, or peer pressure, that's a big thing. Peer pressure is another big thing. I think we should also teach our kids to have a mind of their own, because peer pressure is real. Peer pressure is real. And I think most, not all, most kids who find themselves influenced by peer pressure are those who have not really been taught to understand that they have a mind of their own and they should tap into that, which is something we should do for our kids now. People really underestimate depression. Like, you hear somebody took their life and you're like, why did the person take their life? Is it because of this small incident? My dear, it's not a small incident. So for somebody to go to the extent of taking their life, you know how far they have thought about it. Probably they have even reached out. I won't be surprised that most of those people, those victims, reached out for help and they were shut down. Trauma is real. Trauma is real. If I would like to share my own experience, this is not something I like to talk about, but since I'm already talking about trauma, and moreover, this topic it just came to mind fully today. So I'll just narrate my own experience and how it affected me. So I grew up in Jos. Part of my life was in Jos, and at the age of about 7, thereabout, there was a man that was living with my father. I was too small. Like, I know things like that are still happening, but why I'm saying this is because I want to tell you the extent to which those things, those kind of activities or actions affect people. I was a kid, 6, 7. This guy tried his best. This guy molested me. I came back from school one of those days and there was nobody at home. My dad was not around, my dad's brother was not around, my dad's friend was not around, but this particular one was around. So I went in, changed my clothes, and probably because I was looking for somewhere to just stay or there was nobody to talk to, I went to his room and I slept off. I slept off on his bed. What woke me up was the fact that this guy was touching me inappropriately. I woke up. I can't even explain the emotions I was feeling. He was touching me inappropriately, and well, let me just let that pass. Now, what happened was, subsequently, now I did not know, I don't want to call it hallucinating, because why would I be hallucinating at the age of 6 that a man is threatening my life with a knife if I tell my dad anything? Why would I hallucinate at that age? It could be fear, but I have those memories. Do you understand? I have those memories that this man used a knife to threaten me, and he tried to molest me, or he molested me. He didn't try, he molested me, and subsequently used a knife to threaten me. Now, the trauma I experienced, nobody can fathom it. You know why? I held this pain in my heart for so long. This man's kids came to visit. That's when I knew how hurt I was. This man's kids came to visit, and we were playing. Do you know that as we were playing, I was choking the life out of this guy? Small boy, I think he was my age mate. I was choking the life out of him. I was choking him. Like, with all the hatred I had for his dad, I was choking this guy. It was when it looked as if he was not breathing again. The sister now started hitting me to stop. That's when I got myself back. And I left the room. Now, what am I trying to drive at? Even kids have emotions. Sometimes we don't need to undermine people's pain. Imagine if I had killed that guy at that age. I'll be walking around a murderer. You get? I would be a murderer if I had done that. But some years back, I heard the man died. If I say, I have never said may his soul rest in peace, but it was so relieving. I have never wished anyone death, but this particular one was so relieving. Like, I felt like a weight, like the weight was lifted up off my shoulder. That's how far trauma can go. And we don't need to undermine it when you hear someone saying they're undergoing traumatic stress of some sort. This life is just once. If someone dies and wakes up, that person has been given another chance. But it's once. We don't get to live it twice. You may come back centuries to come. Your soul might still come back, because we have issues of souls reincarnating. Or you hear of people that experienced different lifetimes. So this life is once. What am I trying to get at? This life is once, and we should not undermine people's trauma, people's pain, people's depression. Help where you can. It doesn't have to be financial. Help where you can. And sometimes we get disappointed in life, which causes part of our trauma, and that is because we had expectations that were not met. But that doesn't mean that your emotions or what you expected in life are not valid. You're very valid. You're human. You have expectations. You have what you're looking forward to. But we should also understand that in as much as we go through life with goals and aspirations, you will not always get what you're working towards. It might be better. It might be better. And sometimes it's not what you wanted. But you can always look for a way to add value to the person next to you. You make someone else happy, it makes you happy. Happiness is contagious. We can look for different ways to ease someone of their own trauma or their distress or their pains by being a shoulder to lean on, a shoulder to cry on, a listening ear. Sometimes you really don't need to talk. You just need to pay attention. So I have covered what trauma is and the fact that trauma is disturbing experiences that affect us. It could be as a result of the loss of a child, divorce, rape, heartbreak, physical injury, as a result of violence or abandonment issues. There's an aspect I did not talk about: divorce. My question is, why is it that the rate of divorce is on the increase? What is going on? No one has actually sat down to ask what is going on. Like, look at our parents from way back. We have parents who got married and they are still in the marriage till now. That's very inspiring. But how many couples can you point today and say, oh, this couple inspire me? What is going on? Like, the age of social media has brought about so much disloyalty, heartaches, pains, regrets. But I, for one, I think that the rate of divorce is only increasing because most people get married for the wrong things. And even if you find yourself in the marriage, except for the fact that you are undergoing domestic violence, every other thing can be worked through. If you see couples that have lasted 50 years and are celebrating a golden jubilee, do you know what they have worked through? The rate of divorce is only increasing because people are getting married for the wrong things. And then you think because when you get divorced, oh, you're free. That is another trauma on its own. Like, I was listening to something on the internet during the week where Cardi B said something about, oh, if she was single, she was only trying to elaborate on the fact that she would probably want to remain single instead of giving one new guy an opportunity, then find out that the person is trash, and then adding another body count to your life. Cardi B she's a great girl. She's a great chick, you get. And sometimes I really admire her point of view, and I appreciate her journey in life and how far she has come. Do you understand? I still see some sense in what she said. If you know you cannot do it, stay single. But if you know you can work through it, come on. I think people only get married because of the excitement. I don't know, I may be wrong. Please, if you have opinions, I forgot to say this in the beginning. If you have opinions, I will appreciate it if you drop it as well. But I think that people that get married and get divorced is because they got married for the wrong reasons, the wrong things entirely. And then at the end of the day, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years into the marriage, they're calling it quits so soon. So soon. Why did you get married in the first place? If it has to do with domestic violence, I for one will not agree that you stay put in a violent relationship. But if it has nothing to do with violence, sit your ass down and try to work it through. Is it cheating? Sit your ass down and try to work it through. I think that cheating relationships were, I'm sure, maybe exceptional cases, but I think when it comes to cheating, I think there were hints even before you said yes to get married. There would have been hints. And so if you find yourself in it, sis, bro, work it through. You're going nowhere. We need to change the narrative when it comes to divorce. We should change the narrative. At least we should be able to celebrate more silver and golden jubilees in marriage. And I applaud those couples that have made it through 25 years of marriage. It's not easy. And I applaud you guys. You're setting the standard for us. We are learning and we will get there. So, moving on. I also addressed first, like I said, the divorce aspect. If we work through our relationships, you'll be surprised that the love will grow. It will not only grow stronger, but at some point you will now understand your differences. So I think if people are getting married, please get married for companionship. Because I think at some point the love is gonna fade. The sex will not be so enticing, or unless you work on ways to spice up your sex life. But apart from that, we need to understand that we're humans and you can't really get perfect. You just have to work through your differences, work through your flaws, work through your shortcomings. I think that's what really makes relationships count. I don't think marriage is about that one day of getting married. It's the journey. Marriage is the journey. And forgiveness is a big aspect of marriage, because people will always piss you off. And that person you got married to, you married the person because you chose that person to piss you off for the rest of your life. So sit your ass back and work it through. We need to change the narrative about divorce. And then when it comes to, that's another aspect I was talking about in trauma, because divorce, people just think, because we're done, we're over, so we can walk our separate ways. Trust me, one day in the corner of your bed, in the middle of the night, the memories will come flooding. And then you keep asking yourself questions. So to avoid these kinds of trauma, we should learn to work through our differences. And then I was also talking about heartbreak. That's another aspect of trauma I want to address. Heartbreak. So you were dating somebody, you thought it was going to work out, then at some point, you don't even know where you stand. You don't even know what's going on. Now, because you were heartbroken, you now bleed on people who did not break your heart. Does that make sense? It doesn't, but I do understand your pain. Yes, I understand your pain. But we make this mistake of rubbing off our pains on other people that actually want to be in your life for all the right reasons. Not everyone is coming to your life for the wrong reasons. Not everyone. And I think human beings, we're always gonna experience pain. I don't think there's anyone that has lived on this planet that will tell me they did not experience pain of any sort. People have their stories. We all have our stories. But you don't let it define you. You don't let it define you. Don't let your pains define you. Don't transfer your aggressions, your anger, your pains to people who just want to be in your life for the right reasons. I know it's not easy. Trust me, I've been there. It's not easy. Neither is it easy to move on from your pains and your trauma and your issues. We all have issues. It's never easy to move on from it. But you need to pull yourself together. And if you ever find yourself in a situation where you are agitated, you're irritable, you're hostile, you have flashbacks, you have fear that you cannot explain, probably you just lost interest in most of the things you were passionate about, you feel guilt, there's an essence of loneliness, you have nightmares, you have insomnia. These are things that need to be looked into, and sometimes you need to seek professional help. And if you cannot get professional help, talk to somebody. Talk to somebody. I'm sure there's someone that will listen to you. Talk to somebody. And if you need someone to talk to and you don't have, just send me a message. Or probably I will drop a contact for mental health, a contact that specializes in mental health. So in case you want somebody to talk to and you're looking for professional help, I'll drop a contact on my timeline. Probably you need somebody to talk to. You might be depressed. You're not alone. I just want to tell you that you're not alone. There's so much going on in the world right now. And people are stressed. People are in pain. People are hungry. People are looking for some source of strength, because sometimes you really can't help how you feel. You really can't help the direction of your life. You can only plan. And as a matter of fact, even if you plan, God disposes. Man will only plan, but you see that execution about your life, it is God that will execute it. If your plans are in alignment with what God has in store for you, oh my goodness, you're going to be manifesting every single thing you desire. And we as human beings, we find ourselves in situations where you think you know what you need at the moment. Yes, you know what you need. But sometimes, just sometimes, you need a second listening ear. You need to ask someone. Probably, I should use the word counseling. You should learn to seek counseling. Because sometimes as human beings, we think, oh, we're getting it right. We have everything we want. We're on track. And we lose it. We will lose it at some point. We will lose it. And for those who have not experienced any of these things I have mentioned, you are darn lucky. You are so darn lucky. But don't ever for once undermine those who are going through these issues. Life is deep. Deeper than what you and I can even fathom. I'm a faith-based person, so I have talked about trauma. And for those who cannot get immediate professional help, and you're just looking for somewhere to turn to, you're looking for answers, some reassurance, look up Matthew 11:28, look up Philippians 4 verse 6, Look up Psalm 94 verse 16. Look up 2 Timothy 1:7. These are all scriptures that will not only uplift you, but they give you reassurance on the promises that God has for you. Somebody help me sing. Okay, so for you and I, how do we deal with trauma, or how do you deal with people who are passing through trauma? How do you deal with people who are suffering a certain kind of trauma or depression or something just dropped in my mind. Some people have had childhood issues that have lived with them into their adulthood. And because over the years they kept being disappointed over and over and over again, they've come to the realization that, oh, okay, things never really work out for me. Why even bother to pray? Why even bother to seek help? Yeah, people get to that stage. So how do you deal with those kind of people when you meet them? I think we should be patient with them. We should be patient. We should be loving. We should also try to be understanding, because you may not be able to know or understand what they're going through, but the fact that you validate their pain, yes, you validate their feelings, yes, you validate their emotions as individuals, it makes you a source of strength for them. You don't even know how much your words of encouragement can help that person. You don't know how much your words of your care, your loving approach to what concerns them, you really don't know how far it can go. Don't ever underestimate the effect you have on people in their trying times. Never. It may seem like it's small. It may seem small. Trust me, it's not small. Someone might be contemplating a suicide, but your word of encouragement might take that person's mind off anything stupid. Someone might be contemplating taking a revenge, but you see that input, your word of encouragement, your word of understanding that validates their pain, that validates their trauma, and trying to understand where they're coming from. Sometimes we see situations from one perspective, but today I actually want us to always see it from in as much as probably 2 or 3 perspectives. Try and see it from that person's perspective. Put yourself in their shoes. And then from your own perspective, what's your own conclusion? And then look at it from outside the box. Think outside the box. Like a total stranger coming in contact with such an incident, what will be your thoughts? So when we see this kind of issues, it's important that we look at it from more than one perspective. I'm not saying it's every behavior that you validate. No, it's not every behavior you validate. You don't validate hate. You don't validate murder. Someone contemplating murder. You don't validate. I know I'm sure you understand what I'm trying to talk about. There's some things you just don't validate, and there are those you have to validate through empathy. We should all be in tune with our empathic side. Having said all of that, please, if you are on this live or you watch it after this live and you enjoy this content, just give me a thumbs up, yeah, so I would know if I will come through with more of this. I'm enjoying it because I'm trying to work on my speaking skills. I'm good at writing. I'm working on my speaking skills. And if you enjoyed this session, this live event, I also want you to watch the previous one. If you enjoyed it, I would like a thumbs up. It's fine. Encourage this. Everyone that has been on the live, I really appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for coming to my live. Thank you for coming to my live, and I hope that at some point when you come to my live, you pick something. It doesn't have to be so bogus, but at least something should strike a chord with you. And to close this, I just want to say, please, wherever you find yourself, in a crowd, alone, with few people, I think we should all learn to be loving. We should all learn to be understanding, empathic, and be concerned about the individual next to you. You don't know what they're going through. A little kindness will go a long way. Thank you so much, and do have an amazing week. God bless you all.